Globe history. Early depictions of Earth show it to be flat and enclosed by a dome. The Egyptians, Norse, Hindus, Mayans, Incas, Navajos, Hebrews, and others all knew that the Earth is flat and covered by the firmament, an impenetrable barrier encapsulating the flat plane. This understanding dominated until 1543, when Nicholas Copernicus proposed the heliocentric model of the universe. He was a Jesuit, which is significant because it is well documented that Jesuits have had some serious influence. Visit ilearn.tw/Jesuits to watch a very eye-opening documentary, Jesuits Erasing Our Flat Earth. I strongly recommend watching this great history lesson. The flat Earth model, even up to present, hasn't ever totally died. There are examples of the flat Earth model after 1543. Books like Zetetic Cosmology by Thomas Winship, published in 1899. Terra Firma, the Earth is not a planet, proved from Scripture, Reason, and Fact by David Wardlaw Scott, 1901. And Kings Dethroned by Gerard Hickson, 1922, where he details all the problems with heliocentrism and mistakes made by people like Nicholas Copernicus, Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, and so on. All are evidence of flat Earth prominence. These fine men were also tightly knit with Jesuits, or Jesuits themselves. From the 1900s to present, we can also find many flat Earth pockets and puddles, but the mainstream programmers have done a damn good job of putting the kibosh on them. Why would any reasonable person suppose they couldn't? After all, they've done a pretty damn good job of having us move on and forget what happened on September 11th, 2001. Most people don't even know there were 3 buildings that fell, with just 2 airplanes at free fall speed that day. Today, most children are reading textbooks that associate Muslims with it. Yeah, seriously. In a magazine from August 1931 called Popular Science, explorer Auguste Piccard, after ascending 10 miles high on a balloon, went on record stating, "It seemed a flat disc with an upturned edge." This was at only a little over 50,000 feet. Today we have balloons going up to 23 miles, and the Earth still shows nothing but flatness, with the horizon remaining at eye level at all times. This is not possible on a sphere. Mainstream science says that curvature becomes visible at 35,000 feet, and this simply is not so. We know that heliocentrism, or spinning ball Earth, has been pushed since the 1500s. Thanks, Nicholas Copernicus, you secret Jesuit agenda-running shill. It wasn't until the early 1900s that moves were made to ramp up the deception. In fact, they started programming us in 1912, before the Earth's shape was even supposedly proven. We have been shown a spinning globe before every movie by Universal Pictures for over 100 years. That alone is huge. In 1946, Admiral Richard E. Byrd led an expedition to Antarctica in Operation High Jump. They say they went to Antarctica to train, test equipment, and examine the possibilities of establishing and maintaining military research bases there. They claim to have charted the Antarctic coastline during this time. In 1955, more research bases were added in an expansion of High Jump called Operation Deep Freeze. Then NASA was established in 1958, followed by the proposal of the Antarctic Treaty of 1959, and the implementation of it in 1961. This treaty basically puts Antarctica off limits to civilians, with the exception of guided tours that are carefully supervised. In 1962, Operation Fishbowl took place, where they fired so-called nuclear missiles straight up for high-altitude nuclear tests. It is almost like they were trying to mess with the firmament somehow. The name Fishbowl is also symbolic for the enclosed nature of our world. U.S. President John F. Kennedy also gave his famous "We choose to go to the moon" speech at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas on September 12, 1962. It sure seems that all of these events tie into these guys finding out about the true disposition of Earth, including the crystalline canopy that we cannot get past. In 1966, Lunar Orbiter 1 captures the supposed first ever pictures of Earth from deep space, and they look joke level fake. 2 years later, in 1968, Apollo 8 captures another fake-ass picture of the blue ball Earth. In 1969, Apollo 11 puts a man on the moon for the very first time. In 1972, on their sixth and final trip to the moon, we get one of the most famous pictures of all time, the blue marble. These alleged pictures of Earth, especially 1972's blue marble, are the entire reason behind pretending to go to the moon in the first place. This puts the coffin nails in the spherical flat Earth debate. The ancient cultures of the world and all of the flat Earth authors couldn't be more wrong, because NASA proved that you live on a spinning ball in 1972 that looks just like what Universal Pictures predicted in 1912. Today, curvature cannot be detected by anyone on Earth, motion cannot be detected, nor has it ever been proven, and we can't figure out how to get past low Earth orbit. Early in the next decade, a set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit. Obama, April 15th, 2010. This is the spacecraft that's going to take humans to explore the solar system. It's the next big step for NASA in exploration. Mark Geyer, NASA Orion Program Manager. There are many other examples, but let's move on to save time and paper. Space agencies are certainly not trying to hide these limitations. We are living in a realm with actors like Neil deGrasse Tyson telling us about there being too much space debris floating around Earth to safely exit anymore. And Bill Nye the Science Guy telling us that Earth is an enclosed system, we cannot leave the Earth, there's no place to go. Low Earth orbit is between 99 miles and 1,200 miles. The moon, according to the heliocentric model, is about 237,000 miles high. That's a huge difference. Why was it so easy to go to the moon 6 times between 1969 and 1972, but we can't even go 1% of that distance today? We can't even go 1%, and they blame it on the idea of a Van Allen radiation belt. This is the cover story of the firmament. We live on a flat plane inside of an enclosed structure. It has always been this way. The numbers of flat earthers are only getting bigger and at a staggering rate. People who hyperventilate because of this debate usually blame a failing education system. Indeed, you could argue that they are in fact the poor victims of government-mandated indoctrination centers or schools. In the grand scheme of things, the deception of heliocentrism has been a short-lived attempt at taking man ever further from his or her divine nature. See links and videos related to this article at ilearn.tw/flatearth.